When I first conceived of this channel, it was all about compliance. I wanted to talk about compliance risks and educate everybody on marketing compliance, right? I am NAOAC certified in FTC compliant marketing. Now, what does that mean? I'm not an attorney. I don't do risk audits. I don't give you specific advice about your marketing assets. I don't review them. I can't do any of that because I'm not an attorney. But I am trained on the FTC laws and how they're applied and how to best move forward in marketing without becoming a compliance target, without violating those laws. So what it means is that I know how to build systems and write copy that are probably going to be compliant because I understand the principles behind that compliance. So the whole idea behind this channel originally was going to be like talking about compliance in marketing, and it's not sexy. Nobody wants to talk about systems and operations and compliance, but it's so important, right? And not in a way of, oh my gosh, I want to scare the crap out of you because I want you to think the FTC is coming for you. I mean, the thing is, you don't know. It could be super easy to get on the FTC's radar as a target. And it doesn't matter if you're small, right? There's this myth that they're only going after the big guys in marketing. That's just not necessarily true. And you have to be aware of that. So there's real wisdom in setting up your business in a way that is aligned with compliant-led principles. But as I was getting ready, as I was preparing my content and preparing to talk about this with you guys, I really started diving deep into AI and learning about AI and understanding AI. And there's so much of compliance that has to do with AI because there's risk involved, right? When you introduce AI into your business, so I don't care if you're just using ChatGPT to generate content or generate strategy, write your messaging, or if you're just using agentic workflows, you are still introducing a new actor into your business that's acting on your behalf. So you are responsible for whatever it does, legally responsible for whatever it does. So, man, shouldn't we understand it and understand how compliance might apply to it to understand the risks we might be taking in our business? And so this channel became kind of a convergence of compliance and AI use. Because as I began to think about compliance and AI use, and I just used AI more and more, and I learned more and more about how it worked, I understood that we need guardrails and compliance-led principles in the way that we're using our large language models, and agentic workflows too, but all of AI, right? We need guardrails with all of AI. But I specifically learned just through using how we needed to put these guardrails in place in our AI usage to ensure consistent quality outputs, to protect against future risk. I like to talk a lot about upstream and downstream risk structuring when we are building our systems and making our decisions, whether it's about AI use or our marketing campaigns, or even if we're trying to optimize for conversion rates versus right fit clients, right? Because all of these tiny decisions that we make day by day, they all result in downstream issues, things that we don't see coming. You can see them coming if you look really carefully, but we make these decisions sometimes in the tyranny of the urgent or with one lens instead of like this long-term lens. And the more I looked at AI with a long-term lens and the more I understood how it actually worked, the more I saw the need for clarity around how we use it, the guardrails that we install in it as we use it, and the need for AI literacy to understand how it works. Because if we don't understand how it works, we can't understand its true capacities, its true limitations, and we can't use it well. And so the channel then became about compliance and AI literacy and ethical AI use, because it really all converges. To use AI is to have risk in your business. AI amplifies things, right? It leverages things at an exponential rate. And the thing is, the truth about business growth and business scaling, with or without AI, is that when we grow, when we scale, we amplify whatever is baked into our foundation. And if we haven't been intentional about the foundations that we're building in our systems, in our AI use, in our policies, in our standard operating procedures. And if you think you don't have all those things, if you think you're too small and you don't have systems and SOPs, you do have them. You just haven't named it that. And if you have them, but you haven't been intentional about creating them and naming them, then the odds are you've got some amplified risk there because you haven't thought ahead to make sure that you are engaging in upstream risk structuring to avoid downstream risk. What do I mean when I say that? I'm going to give you a quick example. Let's say that your checkout page indicates that you have a no refund policy. But what's one thing that you could do with that checkout page to perhaps reduce chargebacks, disputes, refund requests, complaints down the line? And I'm not even talking about compliance right now. I'm just talking about the logical progression of things. If you had a checkbox where the customer buying your product or your service checked the box to say that they had read, acknowledged, and understood your refund policy, that is going to significantly reduce your downstream risk, right? And just from a place of having done a lot of back-end operations and responded to chargebacks for digital product and coaching services, I can tell you that that is a huge factor in whether or not you can win that dispute, is if you have that checked. Now, I'm not talking about compliance and laws. I'm talking about the banks and the cards and their procedures and how they process these, we call it a chargeback representment, or when you dispute the chargeback, and whether or not you win that case and hang on to that money is going to matter, some of these things. So you make this decision way back in the beginning of when you just design your checkout page that's going to impact you down the line. And we make tons of these little decisions every day. And here's the thing, listen, the rules and the laws and regulatory, the landscape, it's changing so fast. It's hard to keep up with. It's almost as hard to keep up with as all of the AI advances that happen every day, right? You could just drive yourself crazy in a loop trying to keep up with all of this. But here's the thing. If you are building your business and your systems, and if you are making your AI policies, and they are centered around compliance-led principles, meaning that you understand the root of what they're looking for in compliance. Specifically, I'm typically talking about the FTC marketing compliance, right? You're going to have yourself in a much better position. Now, again, I am not a lawyer. I am not an attorney. I don't advise on specific legal things, but I am a systems expert. I am an operations expert. I am an organizational management expert, and I've been the marketer too. Like I have been in all the roles. And if you build on principles of transparency, of clarity, then you are going to weather the changes that come. Because like right now, for example, you're not going to find a law that says, or a rule that specifically says, oh, hey, if you're using an AI avatar in your videos, then you better be disclosing that, so that your viewers know they're not dealing with a real human. There's not a rule that specifically states that yet that you can find from the FTC. However, all of Section 5 applies to anything you're doing if you're just putting out video content on YouTube, right? But if that goes back to a funnel, if that at any point links back to your content, if people found you that way, then the FTC could consider that to be part of your marketing funnel. And most likely they will consider that to be part of your marketing funnel because it was the entry point that brought somebody into your sales system. And so if they thought that that was a real human on that video and you didn't disclose that you used an avatar, they can apply the existing law to that situation to say that you are being deceptive, right? So if you understand the principles behind the laws and you operate with transparency and clarity, and you put that transparent clarity and you bake it into all your systems, including your AI use, including the builds of your custom GPTs, then you're going to be so much further ahead of the game, right? And here's the biggest thing, right? I don't want to lead with fear. Yes, there's a chance that Any of us could get on the FTC's radar at any point. But it shouldn't even be about that fear. It should be about, do you want a higher quality business? Do you want better customers? Do you want less customer issues? Do you want to spend your time serving your clients well and not dealing with clients who are not happy, who are not right fits, who are going to take up most of your time and still walk away dissatisfied? Because the bottom line is that when you build with these compliant principles in mind and you put them across the board in use in all of your systems, in all of your decisions, you understand why it's important, you're going to have a higher quality business. You're going to have better customers. You're going to have a higher average lifetime value. Most likely, I can't promise any kind of results. I can just tell you that the companies who have become compliant typically experience better results, a better quality of business, a better quality of client. And at the end of the day, if we don't have anything, if we don't have trust, and in an environment where AI is becoming dominant, so dominant that the push is, hey, go make this faceless AI channel, go make this business that AI will run for you on 24/7 autopilot. Hint, hint, bad idea. We should not be removing human oversight from our businesses. And this is a big part of like your AI policy and talking about it in the beginning, where human oversight should not ever be removed. Because AI is about statistical probability. It is not about human discernment and judgment. And the law is still going to hold you responsible for any actor that acted on your behalf in your business. You can't just say, oh, AI glitch, and expect that to be a legally defensible position because you put the AI in motion. And we know that it's not perfect. It can't be perfect. So anyway, it's about understanding what these risks are and just doing the right thing and working to protect the reputation that you're working to build. So anyway, compliance, again, it's not sexy. It's not a fun topic. We don't like to talk about compliance and operations and guardrails, but I promise you, when you put that foundation on, it will give you a much sexier business in the back end. Listen, if this is the kind of content that you need to hear, or if you know somebody who needs to hear this content, please share this with them. Hit the subscribe button. Come back and watch the other videos. You'll learn so much about AI literacy and like truly understanding why and how it works. And I promise you, when you get that, you can leverage it so much more in your favor. We hope to see you again soon.